We've just had the Divisional Cup Opens. Today I'll break down all the big duos that qualified, which big names such as Mongraal and MrSavage failed to make the finals, and I'll give you my predictions for grands. I also want to talk about the FNCS Summit LAN. Now that we know that it won't be in Paris, where is it going to be hosted? Let's get straight into it. So if you're wondering why I'm not talking about the Reload Elite Series, I will be doing that in my video tomorrow. I'll be doing my predictions for the heats, so stay tuned for that. But for today, let's focus on the Divisional Cup. And it was an excellent Opens round. We had day 2 of it yesterday, and the team that came out on top with over 1,000 points across the 2 days was Sky and Scroll. I mean, these guys are the best team in the world right now. I don't think there should be any doubts about that. Their form has been incredible. They obviously won the first Divisional Cup. They won the Unreal Cup back in December. They've just been looking so consistent, so good. Scroll as an individual player also looking brilliant. He obviously won the solo series. He's also been looking great in terms of the stats he's been putting up in this tournament. He had the 2nd most damage and the 3rd most eliminations. Stay tuned for my predictions later on in the video to see where I think they're going to finish. In 2nd place we had King, Cringe and Twy. Now this is obviously a relatively new team. King, Cringe and Velo were previously doing very well, performing in a lot of the victory cups. The big issue with that duo was the vibes. There was a lot of arguing. They just couldn't quite get on the same page sometimes. So whilst they had undeniable potential and they were very good together, they both had great ability, it just did not work out in the end. But clearly King, Cringe and Twy are having no such issue. These are 2 excellent players and it's no shocks to see them doing well. King Cringe has only ever made 1 FNCS Grand Finals, and that was back in Chapter 5. 100% that statistic is going to change. I do think he will make a major this year. Probably the first major if we're being honest. He is that good. But listen, 2nd place from these guys, very solid. The next few teams are all big names. In 3rd place we had Focus and Thomas HD. In 4th we had Chap and Flixie, and Chap was particularly impressive during this tournament from an individual standpoint. He had the most damage and the most eliminations, showing that he is still a very explosive player. We had Swizzy and Pixie in 5th, and Shark and Teeny in 6th, so no surprises there. Going down the leaderboard, in 7th place we have the Norwegian duo of Specs and Zolks. Now Specs was previously playing with Gonzo and they did look quite good together. Gonzo has since gone on to play with Pradage and they have made the last few Divisional Cup finals together, including this one. But Specs went one better by breaking into the top 10 with his compatriot Zolks, credit to him. In 8th place we had Khan and Faded Pigeon. In 9th we had Vico and Malabuka, a team that have officially returned to form. They of course managed 2nd place in the last Divisional Cup finals. They had a couple of off performances, couple of bad Divisional Cups. They failed to qualify for the Reload Elite Series, only managing 14th out of 20th in the Grand Finals for that. But listen, I do think they are back. As I've been saying lately, they have so much undeniable quality that they were always going to bounce back at some point, and I do believe they have officially done it. I'll talk more about where I think they're going to finish later on. And in 10th place we had the French duo of Kenrop and Snailix. Now I'll show you the map in a minute when I do my predictions, and then you'll be able to see which other big names qualified. I'll go over a couple for you now though. We do have iDrop and Marius qualifying in 50th place. If you don't know, they finished 81st in the Reload Elite Series play-ins, meaning they missed out on heats by only 1 placement, but luckily for them they just about managed to qualify for this tournament. Unfortunately, for the 3rd time this chapter they will be contested at Bumpy Bay by Cammy and Hari, so I'm not sure I can see them doing too well in the finals. We also had 3 new duos qualify, and they were Akira and Rax, Karama and Werex, and Nosif and Lixium. Now, I've got some thoughts about this Akira and Rax duo. Firstly, let me talk about the positives. Akira and Rax on paper is a really good team. They have a similar dynamic to Shark and Teeny in the fact that you have one young up-and-coming fighter who is very explosive, but also a rock-solid controller player that is just good all-round. Akira isn't someone who really excels at something in particular. I do think he is just a good all-round player. Listen, this team does look good, and I can understand why Akira might have dropped Karama for Rax, because at the end of the day that is an upgrade. My personal take on the situation is that sometimes the grass isn't always greener. The chemistry that Akira and Karama had was so good, and their placements were great too. They were brilliant in Opens rounds, they were constantly winning in victory cups, they were looking good, and I do believe that they would have made FNCS Globals had they stuck. Let's not forget when Sky and Scroll split up back in Chapter 6 Season 4. Sky picked up Marius, and whilst some people might say that's a better team on paper, they lacked the chemistry that made Sky and Scroll so good, and the duo ended up failing. And I do worry that this could happen again with this situation. Now, before I go any further, there is a message in Karama's chat that details that maybe this duo might not be permanent. He seems to be suggesting that him and Akira are on a break for a week and then they will be returning to playing with each other. And of course they are officially still with each other for the Reload Elite series as they qualified together. Listen, it's hard to know what to believe. Maybe they are just on a break, but if Akira does do well with Rax in these Divisional Cup finals, then I probably could see them sticking. However, in the long term, I do think that Akira and Karama are just too good together. They will have to get back together at some point. I do just think it's inevitable. Everything from the message in the chat and the fact that they're still playing Reload together suggests that maybe they haven't fully split. Only time will tell on that one. What we do know is that both players qualified for these finals. We had Akira and Rax make it, as did Karama with his new duo mate Werex, who he obviously played with in trios last year. Werex was previously with Nosif, and I have to say they were looking really good too. So it's a bit unfortunate that they've had to split. Nosif is now playing with Lixium, and he also did qualify for these finals. But to summarise that section, Akira and Karama are a good team on paper. Do I think Akira needed to split with Karama? No, because they were doing well. Do I think Akira will get back with Karama? Most likely. Do I think Akira will do well with Rax? Most likely. We'll have to see how it all goes. Now, before I do my top 10 predictions for finals, let's talk about some of the big teams that didn't make it. I'll put a list up on screen now of all those duos, courtesy of Nothing But Fortnite. And as you can see, MrSavage and Rezon did fail to qualify. 63rd ultimately isn't a terrible placement. They weren't too far off, but it did feel like the vibes were very flat, especially in the final game. They were incredibly split. They were incredibly split in the half and half zones. It just felt like they weren't having fun playing together. It felt like they really weren't on the same page. And at the end of the day, you need to have chemistry to be good at Fortnite. There are rumours that they might have already split. I do think that that is inevitable. I'm not sure I see these guys sticking together. I did express doubts about the duo when they formed because neither player is 100% locked into competitive Fortnite. And yes, they're both very good, as I've mentioned before, but neither of them are the biggest grinders in the world. I just don't think I can see it working out, and I do think they will split pretty soon. Queasy and MrSavage have missed out on finals again, and I have to say I am getting a little bit concerned about this duo. Yes, we do still have 2 Divisional Cups left of the season, but they are going to have to do well in those in order to prove that they are a top team, because their performances lately just haven't really been good enough. I know that MrSavage hasn't been that locked into the game since Globals, and I know that Queasy has been struggling to find the right fit in terms of a duo mate, but these are 2 top quality players and they should be doing better. And yes, I know it's the off season, I know this is a meta that won't even have an FNCS attached to it, but these are still tournaments that have prize pools, and I feel like we should be expecting the top pros on the region to be performing in them regardless of what the season is. Mongraal and Turtle also failed to qualify, only managing to finish in 225th. Their day 2 was pretty poor. They were finished with their games in under 2 hours. Just didn't go well for them, unfortunately. They also didn't qualify for the Reload Elite Series heats. I do think that the realistic expectation for this team is that they could make grands, but then by no means guaranteed to do that. If they can make the Major 1 grand finals, then I think that's a big achievement for them. The Summit LAN, I mean, it's not out of the question, but with so many top teams in EU, I'm just not sure I can see it happening at this moment in time. Now let's get into my top 10 predictions for Saturday's Divisional Cup finals. Now obviously these predictions can change. If you want to see my full 100% locked top 10, then you'll find that over on my Twitter at Spudzarn on Saturday before the tournament. But for now, with the map we currently have, here's my list. In 10th place, I've gone for Yapko and Panzer. Now, this might seem odd seeing as they are the defending champions. I've put them in 10th because there's so many players surrounding them near their POI of Painted Palms. And yes, they do have it uncontested, but I just feel like that area is looking so congested. They are in a vulnerable spot. I'm not sure I can see them getting higher than 10th. The next 2 teams I've got are both German-speaking ones. In 9th place, I've gone for Cheatin and Yanis. And in 8th place, I've gone for Cringe and Volko, who are uncontested in the mid-map. Both of these teams did well last week, and I fully expect them to repeat the performances on Saturday. In 7th place, I've gone for Focus and Thomas HD. And you might be thinking this seems a bit low, considering they have uncontested Ripped Tides. However, Seti and Dinas are landing very near them. If you don't know, these two teams did contest each other at Riptides last week, and neither of them able to do too well. Yes, Seti and Dinas are currently marked away from them on the map, but I feel like there's a chance they might end up fighting in a bunch of the games. I'm just not completely sold that Focus and Thomas are going to be uncontested. We'll have to see how that develops. For now, I've got them in 7th. Maybe that changes near over time. We'll have to wait and see. In 6th place, I've gone for Dom and Demus. They have Clawsy Lodge uncontested. They came 8th last week. I think they'll do a couple of places better and manage a 6th. In 5th place, I've gone for Sky and Scroll. Now, you might be thinking, why have you put Sky and Scroll in 5th when at the start of the video you were talking about how they're the best team in the world? And there is a reason for that. I'm just not 100% sure that they're going to have Battlewood as uncontested as they would like. There are 2 teams landing on the south side, Akira and Rax, and Velo and Zangi, the new duo. And I just feel like all it takes is them getting fought in a couple of the games. Battlewood is such a volatile POI because it is so big. And listen, it might not even play out that way. It might be fine. They might get as much loot as they want and they can just play their own game. The trouble is the 4 teams I have above them are all top duos that have uncontested POIs. So that's why Sky and Scroll, despite their incredible form, despite the fact that they are 100% capable of a first place, that's why I've put them in 5th. In 4th, I've gone for Vico and Malabuka. They have the mountain uncontested at the north of the map. They did great last week, finishing in 2nd. I see no reasons why they won't perform on Saturday. They're looking very good. Their strategy of building the ramp right up to max height and then wingsuiting off, meaning they never take any damage and they can always get good positions in zones, is very intelligent. They know what they're doing. 4th seems fair. In 3rd place, I've gone for Chap and Flixie. Now, these guys started out brilliantly last week, winning the first 2 games. They were comfortably in 1st place. Unfortunately, after that, they just lost consistency altogether. They did struggle a little bit. They had uncontested classified Canyon, so I did expect a bit more from them. I mean, ultimately 5th place last week, not too bad. I do think they are going to do better now. 3rd place is where I've got them put. In 2nd place, I've gone for the week 2 winners, and that is, of course, Shark and Teeny. Listen, they've had uncontested wonky land every single week, and that's for a reason. Nobody wants to go and fight them because they are so good. They command so much respect in these type of lobbies. They use so much space when they're looting, and they're constantly a threat. If you're landing anywhere near that wonky land POI, then you are at serious risk of getting W keyed. Listen, Shark and Teeny are a top duo. I just think there's one team that might do slightly better in these finals. And that team is, of course, Swizzy and Pixie. Now, we've had a new winner in each of the last 3 divisional cups. Week 1 was Sky and Scroll. We then had Shark and Teeny, and of course, Yapko and Panzer last week. And I do believe that trend will be repeated as Swizzy and Pixie, for the first time, have Lethal Labs uncontested. The first 2 weeks, they had to split it with Skyjump and Dew, and obviously they didn't qualify last week. But listen, with that mid-map POI uncontested all to themselves, they're going to get so much loot. They'll have great priority on zones. I do believe that with a team of their quality, they should be winning from that position. I mean, listen, we all know how good Swizzy and Pixie are. Pixie, in my opinion, was the best player of 2025. He was just exceptional. 1st, 3rd and 3rd in the FNCS majors, 2nd at globals, brilliant individually. I believe he was also top for PR as well. Just a great player. Swizzy as well, obviously a globals winner. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys this. You all know how good they are already. And with uncontested Lethal Labs, I do believe they will get 1st place. But listen, I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know your top 10 list, and the most accurate one will be featured in my video after finals. In terms of teams that I do think could do well, but I couldn't quite fit into my top 10 for today, you've got King, Cringe and Twy. I do think they could do brilliant. They have a split uncontested. You've also got Karama and Werex, the new team, who have a small area of the map uncon. I mean, I'm not sure about a top 10 for these guys, but they are going to do well. I mean, there's 2 consistent players. I've got no doubts that they can perform. Chino and Pablo Wingu, who obviously did exceptionally well last week, finishing in 3rd place, are triple contested at Sandy Strip this week. And honestly, with 3 teams there, I'm not sure they'll be able to split it. I do think they'll probably get sucked into fighting every game, and because of that, I'm not sure I can see a top 10 for them. I'll throw up a list of some of the new teams that we saw in this tournament, the biggest one probably being Pix and Franek. That is definitely a really exciting team. You've got Pix, who is someone who is very capable of leading. He was excellent last year, and Franek, who is regarded as a very, very good mechanical Polish fighter. I do think they'll do well together. We've also got Nathan and Nebs and Velo and Zangi. new duos that actually did qualify for the finals. It will be interesting to see how all of these guys get on. And over on NA Central, as per usual, we had a bunch of EU teams qualify for the finals. Again, there's a full list up on screen for you now. As you can see, loads of big names made it. We had Hicks and Scroll qualifying, finishing in 8th place. Queasy and Skavi also made it. You had Malabuka and Panzer, iDrop and Marius. As per usual, no shortage of European talent qualifying on NA Central. Hopefully one of them can do really well, maybe even manage a top 10 in the finals. Now, I promised earlier on in the video that I'd talk about the Summit LAN, so let's do that now. The speculation in the community over the past month or two has been that it will be hosted in Paris, and Epic Games have seemingly come out and confirmed that this will not be the case. They've said that it will be hosted in a completely new country, so that means it won't be in France, it won't be in the US, it won't be in Denmark. It is going to be somewhere that Epic have never hosted a Fortnite LAN in. I've come up with a number of realistic options. I do think that Germany is the most likely choice. Amar came out and seemingly suggested that it might be in Germany. I mean, there's nothing in that. It's just a rumor. He's probably having a bit of fun, but realistically, Germany is probably the most likely candidate. It's a big country. It's got a huge Fortnite community. You've got Amar attached to it, someone who has huge viewership and who is literally known for selling out LANs of his own doing with his own audience. Germany would make a lot of sense. I do think that is the most likely option. You've also got Poland, a country that has hosted Fortnite LANs previously, even going as far back as Chapter 1 when you had ESL Katowice. You've got the UK as an option. I mean, we could host it in London. As someone who is from the UK, I certainly wouldn't mind that. I definitely think that's on the cards. Then, of course, there's the option of Scandinavia. Maybe you have it in Sweden or Norway. And Canada, I do also think is an option. I've got no idea what the visa situation would be like for that, or indeed with any of these countries, but Canada could work. One of the big reasons, obviously, why Europe is such a viable option is because it has a more favourable visa situation for some of the players compared to the US. It was very nice that all 99 qualified players were able to play at Globals. It wasn't like the year before where we had to use a lot of the backup slots. Unlikely places that it could be hosted, but ones that I'd certainly be interested in seeing are Brazil. I mean, there's a huge Fortnite community over there and it would be really cool to have a LAN. Japan is also an option, but at the end of the day, it's so far away. I do think it would be very expensive for Epic to host it there. Same sort of logic with Australia, but again, that could work, although OCE, as of the last few years, is kind of declining as a region, let's say, if you want to put it politely, so I'm not sure I could see that happening. If you want my personal prediction, I do think the LAN will be hosted in Germany, but honestly, I'll be happy wherever it is. I'm just excited that we have an extra LAN in the year. The Summit LAN, obviously in May, it will be the top 20 teams in EU that qualify for that, and that's out of Major 1. Should be a really fun tournament no matter where it's hosted. In final news, I do want to talk about something that isn't related to EU, and that is the news that the Milk Cup has officially been cancelled. And I have to say, I'm pretty gutted by this decision because it was something that was really, really good for the female scene. The amount of money that was being put up with it, the fact that there was a LAN event attached, it was really good. It was just a great initiative, a great event, and it's a real shame that it's not returning, and I don't want to get into the reasons why in this video, but let's just say that the reaction to the players that won last year from some members of the community probably did affect it. The fact that whilst the Milk Cup is a very inclusive tournament, which is why it's so good, some of the participants and some of the people that watched it probably weren't as inclusive and weren't as accepting of the rightful winners, the two females that literally won the tournament. So it's a shame that it's not coming back. I just wanted to mention that there. I do hope that there is an alternative in the works and that females can get the tournaments they deserve, because honestly, I felt like we were in need of even more tournaments beyond the Milk Cup, because EU obviously don't get anything near that. And now we've taken a step backwards where there's basically no prizing at all. It is a shame. It is a shame, and I hope something gets sorted out. And to the people that were moaning last October when Vader won the tournament, talking about how they were getting silenced by the Milk Cup, I hope you're happy with what you got, because now we don't have a tournament at all. But honestly, I just think it's embarrassing that people couldn't handle the fact that Vader won the tournament last October, and because people had such a stupid, childish reaction to that, now we don't have the tournament at all. It's a shame. It's definitely a shame. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I make these kind of videos all the time to keep you guys up to date on everything that happens in the EU. I'll be talking about the Reload Elite Series heats tomorrow, and then I'll have a video out on Saturday, Sunday and Monday, so please subscribe so you don't miss out on any of that. Thank you very much for watching the video. See you in the next one.